I honestly do not know how I'm going to do a non-spoiler for this episode of The Walking Dead titled "Thank You." Oh my guys, I'm not even playing, man. Oh wow, just so I've never felt this much emotion for a character in TV, especially there's been a lot of series I've seen and a lot of deaths, but this is a spoiler review, and I knew it. I fucking knew it. I knew it when Glenn had his watch out. When Glenn called Rick on the radio a dumbass, like callbacks from previous seasons, big moments from Glenn. Like I don't. I mean, I want to. This is crazy. It was. Oh my god. I'm just like wow. They killed Glenn. They killed Glenn. Nothing like the comics. It's wow. Oh, they killed Glenn off like wow. Like I'm just fool. I'm sad. That's what it is. I'm sad. The comic book version of Glenn's death was the most brutal, gory death I've ever seen. And that emotion really brought not sadness but anger towards Negan. This is hands down the most saddest death I've seen in The Walking Dead or any series at all. I mean, I've seen a lot of series over the years, but this really just hits. It's just the way they presented this death was so beautifully done. This episode is hands down one of the best Walking Dead episodes. I'm still in shock of what I just watched tonight. I think everybody who saw this episode is going to be in shock, is going to be sad. I am sad right now. Like, I'm just like, oh, just. And the way they present, but I have to review this, I have to critique this, and I gotta say, this episode was so beautifully done. It is the consequences, the weight towards it. I always say that every show needs a consequence. You need to have something that makes you on the edge of your seat. There has to be something that really impacts you. Either it has to be the dialogue, the characters, and this is a beloved character, Glenn. There was a lot going on into this episode. But of course, this episode's gonna be known as the death of Glenn. And the way they did it, and then Nicholas being the one to drag him down, and we all knowing that last season Glenn should have killed Nicholas, and he would have never been in that situation. He would have never got dragged down. In this episode, I was kind of feeling sorry for Nicholas. I was feeling like, Nicholas is really, really trying. But him taking the way out and then drag, oh my god, just like, oh, I'm just thinking of that scene. It really hurts when you think of that scene when Glenn's on the ground and the zombies are ripping his guts. I mean, oh man. I mean, what I'm trying to talk about everything else that happened in this episode, but this death has just really hit me, and I think it's gonna hit just a lot of people who are fans of The Walking Dead and fans of Glenn. Like this sucks. It sucks. I would love to see more Glenn, but as a as a critiquer, as a man who loves story, who written stories, who's loves film, who loves television, bravo, bravo. Great, one of the best episodes. I mean, honestly, the everything just fell into pieces. You had survival at the fit. You have the best surviving episode here, and yet the best deaths here. I mean, it all made sense. It's so hard to talk here because Glenn is wow. Just I'm still just like in shock what I just watched tonight. But I'm assuming you saw the episode. Of course, I'm assuming you saw the episode. I thought the makeup job on the zombies, the walkers, looked beautiful. I thought hinting at Glenn's demise was a great foreshadowing, but not really pushing it onto you and not really focusing on Glenn, because they could have focused on Glenn so much in this episode, but they didn't. They held back and they told a story of other individuals, not only of the community Alexandria, but also Rick's group and them trying to coexist and trying to survive together. I think the best performance, I love Michonne. The television Michonne, I think the television Michonne honestly is better than the comics. You get more emotion out of it. You get you feel more of the character Michonne coming out. And I think Michonne in the television in this episode did a fantastic job, especially the conversation she had with Heath and telling him, listen, what is your problem? What Rick said, it was true. I was covered in blood, and I didn't know if it was Walker blood. I didn't know if it was my blood. I didn't even know if it was my friend's blood. You say you were out there, but you weren't really out there. So just Michonne really kicked ass in this episode. Like I said, I really did feel for Nicholas. He was trying his hardest, but at the end, not only did he go into a wall, but and freak out and not being able to save not only himself, but getting Glenn killed in the process. And that's what pisses me off the most of that whole situation. But I'm just filled with sadness because of Glenn. Especially that part when he said in the radio, watch yourself, dumbass, to Rick. And then Rick is a madman here. The kills in this episode were great. The only really tripes I have in this episode is the whole thing like we see over and over again. Oh, I fell on my leg. It hurts. Oh my God. And I need your help. Here, carry me. That's the only thing I really had a little complaint about in this episode. But all in all, the way the pacing, the tone, the atmosphere, the acting, the dialogue. I've always stressed that The Walking Dead needs to level up their dialogue here, because dialogue in the past seasons have just not cut it. They're not up to Breaking Bad standards. They're not up to Sons of Anarchy standards. You don't want to listen to this interaction, even though this interaction is very unique. You never seen these characters interact, but the dialogue is weak. This episode, the dialogue was great. You were listening, you were paying attention, and I absolutely loved it. This episode is, oh my God, this might be my favorite episode. I'm not sure. It might be my favorite episode. Not only because of the demise of Glenn, which is so sad of its own. It really packs a punch. It really hits you. And that's what you want in a series. You want something to be memorable, stand the test of time itself. And not only did they do a fantastic job of killing off Glenn in a TV series, this is probably up there with Glenn dying in the comics. You get two different emotions from the comics and the television. So you gotta give just a clap and a bravo to the creators to know, okay, we don't want to go this route. We don't want to go the Negan route. We want Glenn to go out the way we feel is natural and would be a natural way. In this episode, the walkers finally, even though sometimes you saw deaths off camera and you question like, how are you dying from these walkers? But the way they presented the walkers tonight, fantastic. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I was waiting for the season. The horde of walkers, the danger, the threat. That is what you want. The conflict, the scenarios, the situations. Beautifully done. This episode really blew my mind on this is what I look forward to every time I tune into a season of The Walking Dead. I want this level of beautiful, gory, action-packed drama. But yeah, I want this. This is what I want every freaking episode. Of course, I'm not expecting to get this every episode, but I'm expecting to at least sustain and be consistent of like this episode. So just a bravo job on this episode. This has to be one of my favorite episodes. I just loved everything about it. I am a big fan of threats. I am a big fan of consequences. And I am a big fan of shock deaths, but done right. And I think they did Glenn right. As much as I'm super sad and just could not believe they went this route, it was done so beautifully. Because man, when they were trapped and they were on top of that trash can, I was thinking, well, if he goes this way, goes that way. No, the wall's too high. He can't climb over the building. If he goes over that fence, I think there's more walkers. I mean, how do they get out of it? Rick showing up, one of the somebody showing up and helping them out like they did Daryl. But that wasn't the case. You felt like there was just no way out of it. You felt like you even felt like Rick was in danger. And that is what you want in this series. That's what you want to feel. You want to feel like these main casters, nobody's safe. And that's exactly what happened tonight. And that is absolutely amazing. It's awesome. I love it. Best episode. I think it's going to be so hard to top this episode. So hard. I think I said Glenn would die this season. I'm not sure, but there is one particular death that I think they're really going to tie. Now my prediction is starting to maybe come into fruition if they do it, and that is a certain somebody meeting a certain somebody and Lucille. If you don't know, you'll see my other check out my other videos. But I could talk about Glenn's death all night long. Honestly, you guys should have saw me when I first saw it. I wish I did a reaction video because I'm just it's hard. It's very hard to lose a character like this, especially Glenn, especially knowing his relationship with Maggie, with Rick, with everybody, how respected he is, how big of an arc he had. But we all knew that Glenn's character himself could only reach so far, and I think that's what the creators thought. They said, we did everything we wanted to tell about Glenn. He was a fantastic character, but how do we make his demise, how do we make his death meaningful in the series? And they did a fantastic, beautifully done job. I mean, the direction, the editing, the music, I thought the music was splendid. I use that word splendid in this episode. I don't think you guys ever seen me like this in a Walking Dead review, because it was just that amazing. It was just that fantastic. I am super excited. I am very thrilled to know that this is probably one of the best. This is the best Walking Dead episode. One of the best Walking Dead episodes, and it's crazy because I can't wait. I definitely can't wait until we hear Morgan and how his next episode and what he's been through. But oh my God, just everything, and then tying it into when the community. It was good job from them seeing the community and them getting attacked before we got into this story arc. And I gotta say, Heath is really, I really do enjoy Heath's character and the actor who's playing Heath, by the way. I thought even the tropes, even though this guy got bit and he wants to send a letter, I thought, getting to know a little bit of the community members, even though they ate it, even though they were just basically zombie meat, I still thought they did a pretty good job on that as well, especially when they were trapped inside like the little dog's pet building or whatever. This episode just really came together so well. And then especially Rick getting attacked, beautifully done, when Rick just unloaded on these motherfuckers. Unloaded on him. And now he's trapped, and now we have a zombie horde coming after his ass. I only have 15 minutes. I can only talk for 15 minutes. I don't know how I'm going to do a non-spoiler. It's going to be very hard because how much excitement and how much just this death means to me and how much this episode means to me. But thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that button. Subscribe for Glenn. Like the video if you like it, and comment below. Comment below. Spoilers below. Beware. I mean, we got to talk about this, guys. I am going to reply to you guys because oh my God, we got to talk about this death. We got to talk about this episode, and we got to talk about how you guys feel. Also, I don't have my intro tonight because I wanted to get this out, but check out Musicality's channel. He did my Walking Dead intro, the hip hop beat instrumental. I'll have a link in my description box. So thank you guys. Dead Walking Sunday, baby. Dead Walking Sunday. Till next time, till we talk more The Walking Dead. 2 fingers up for Glenn, baby.